Tech Cocktail Sessions, educational and inspirational talks from experienced startup founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders.
I'm Brittany Laughlin. I run a company called Incline, and we're based out of New York City. So people were really shocked that I flew all the way, but I'm like, it's just one plane. It's not that hard. I didn't drive. Well, I'm really excited to be here, but unfortunately, I have some bad news. The current U.S. economy is in the tank. Current unemployment is close to 10%, and the underemployed is about 20%. So that means 1 in 5 Americans is not working, and they want to be. Now, this is really rough. I mean, America's this great country, and we all are doing these very innovative, great things, but there are a lot of people that are having a really hard time right now. But the weird thing is that we live in a country that has the most competitive education system in the world, and there's still people without jobs. Now, there's another problem with education. There's, I think collectively, $1 trillion worth of student debt from higher education. So I know this is very depressing, but the good news is that there are open jobs. The economy is growing and more jobs are opening, but there just happens to be a skill set gap. Now, educated college students might say, well, no one's hiring, there are no jobs. And maybe what we really should tell them to say is, 5 years ago, when I was thinking about applying to higher education, I didn't consider the economic impact that would exist after I graduated so I could obtain a competitive skill set. Now, this is just like crazy. I mean, the iPhone didn't even exist 5 years ago. So being able to predict what you're going to do and go into a lot of debt in order to obtain a skill set that you don't even know whether it's going to be competitive is just totally backwards. So the good news is that we can fix this. And it's not impossible to do. So sort of looking about what the economy really needs is we need skilled talent. And at Incline, what we really believe is that that's obtainable. And it should be something that you understand what the marketplace needs, you get that skill set, and you immediately start applying it. We call this just-in-time training. So instead of saying, okay, I need to leave the workforce, go back for 4 years, obtain a skill set, and then join, it's sort of saying, what can I do in 6 or 8 weeks to be able to be really competitive and pick up a new job and fill these open jobs that exist out there? So that's what we do at Incline. I'd love to tell you the story about how that kind of started. So I was running a technology company in Chicago for 2 years, and over that course, we grew a team of 8 engineers. And we hired masters in computer science people, we hired college dropouts. Basically, if you had the skill set that we needed, we would consider you. And that worked out really great because it's really competitive to hire engineers, not only in Chicago, but everywhere. We were looking for Ruby on Rails developers. If you're in technology, you know that's a sort of growing skill set that's only been around for 10 years. So it's even more competitive because you can't get someone with more than 10 years of experience. It didn't really exist in the US economy before that. So quickly, the most successful candidates that we hired ended up being the ones that were self-motivated, worked hard, and just innately very smart, which didn't necessarily correlate with how much education that they had. It was right around this time that we were really ramping up. We had raised additional venture capital. We wanted to hire like 5 engineers at once. I was watching the news, and they were talking about the drawdown of the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. They said over the next 5 years, there will be 1 million veterans returning to the US workforce. And I'm a Navy brat. I come from a big military family. I'm like, wow, I would love to get some Navy talent in my company. You know, they're driven, they're motivated, they put their lives on the line, you know, voluntarily. No one forced them to do it, no one made them do this, and they're coming back to this economy that's like pretty shaky. I'm like, wow, it would not only be great for my company if more vets came into tech, but like the whole tech sector as a whole. It's one of the fastest growing, there's a lot of job opportunity, there's lots of companies that can't hire fast enough. That's a really good problem to have if you have 1 million people coming back that are highly trained and very skilled. So basically sort of took this mashup, started thinking about how to build this. I worked with some of the best educators in New York City to build a curriculum around Ruby on Rails. We found the best teachers. We screened over 200 candidates that applied to the program, and we only took 7 because we wanted to find people that innately had that passion for technology, they had a technical skill set, they were very likely to succeed, and we put them in the program 8 weeks, 40 hours a week in a classroom, and then we worked on the opposite side with hiring partners. We said, who wants Ruby on Rails developers? You will never get as many emails as when you say that out. So it was great. So we're like, we have 7, okay, we'll be done at this point. This is great. Well, what we realized is after the program ran, these guys and men and women had written a lot of programs, they had a lot of great experience. They basically were building the way that companies actually build. It wasn't just sort of like high-level thinking, it was like, this is how you build an app, this is how you work with a technology team. But when we brought these candidates to employers, we kept getting the same reaction of, well, we typically only hire people with this type of degree from this type of school, and this candidate doesn't fit that. Now, I had to do a little bit of guilt tripping on some people, like, you won't give 15 minutes of your time to just have one conversation with someone who is in Iraq, defending our country. So, I'm very popular with the HR managers with these 80 companies. But that's the reality, is that non-traditional backgrounds, non-traditional education is great, and it's emerging, and it's going to change a lot, but it's going to take some mind shift in terms of the companies that are hiring. And looking around this room, I know a lot of you guys are going to be hiring in the next couple years. Think about looking at non-traditional candidates. The students that take time out of their day to take online free Stanford courses. They're never going to be able to put that in their education box on their resume or on LinkedIn. It's going to, there's no box for continuing education like that. So thinking through those types of things, thinking through those types of candidates, and just thinking of how much more competitive you can be when you say, next year I need 5 Android developers. Okay, I'll go ahead and put 10 in the pipeline. We'll start training them. We'll see who shows up early for work every day. We'll see who works well in the team. You basically pre-vet these people on a training salary, not even a full-time salary, and then you know who's the best, and you can hire those people. And even if you only hire half of them, the other half will have a new skill set that they can take out back into the economy and use. So that's basically what I ask of all of you, is think about ways to look at non-traditional candidates, don't exclude anyone, and really think about what skill sets you're going to need in the next year and start investing today. Thanks.